Imagine walking into a movie theater in the 80s or 90s. Before you even take your seat, something stops you in your tracks, a dazzling, hand-painted poster bursting with life, emotion, and adventure. You haven't seen the film yet, but you already feel it. The bold strokes, the glowing faces, the hero's determined stare. It's as if the story is calling out to you from the wall. That magic, that unforgettable feeling, came from one man, Drew Struzan. And today, Hollywood and fans around the world are mourning his loss. Drew Struzan, the legendary artist behind some of the most iconic movie posters in history, has passed away at the age of 78. Drew Struzan wasn't just an artist. He was a storyteller with a paintbrush. His work didn't just promote films, it defined them. When you think of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, or Blade Runner, chances are the first images that come to mind aren't just scenes from the movies, but Drew's breathtaking posters. His paintings became an inseparable part of the movie experience, bridging the gap between cinema and imagination. Born in 1947 in Oregon City, Oregon, Drew Struzan's journey began humbly. He didn't come from wealth or privilege. In fact, in several interviews, he spoke about growing up poor and not even having the money to buy art supplies. Yet, that didn't stop him. His talent was undeniable, and his determination unmatched. He went on to attend the Art Center College of Design in Los Angeles, where he honed his craft and learned the techniques that would later make his work instantly recognizable. Struzan began his professional career in the 1970s, designing album covers for bands like Alice Cooper and the Bee Gees. But it wasn't long before Hollywood came calling. His first big movie project was for the 1978 musical The Star Wars Holiday Special, and from there, a lifelong connection with George Lucas and Lucasfilm was born. He would go on to create artwork for nearly every Star Wars release, from the original trilogy to the prequels, and even special editions. His relationship with filmmaker George Lucas and director Steven Spielberg became legendary. They didn't just see him as an artist, they saw him as a visual storyteller who could capture the soul of their movies in a single image. Spielberg once said that a Struzan poster made you want to see the movie, even if you had no idea what it was about. That's the power Drew had. With each brushstroke, he created worlds. His posters were a blend of realism and fantasy, a technique that pulled audiences in. Take his work for Indiana Jones, for example. The way he painted Harrison Ford, whip in hand, eyes full of determination. It wasn't just a portrait. It was a promise of adventure. Or his Back to the Future poster, with Marty McFly glancing at his watch as flames burn under the DeLorean's tires. That single image told you everything you needed to know about the movie's tone, excitement, and wonder. In a world before Photoshop, every detail in his posters was meticulously hand-painted. Each glow, shadow, and reflection was crafted with care. His art wasn't rushed. It was layered with emotion, symbolism, and cinematic drama. Even today, digital artists study his compositions to understand what made his work so magnetic. But what truly set Drew apart wasn't just his technique. It was his heart. He painted with passion, often saying that he approached every poster as if it were a portrait of someone he loved. That connection is what made his art timeless. Fans didn't just see characters. They saw humanity, adventure, and hope. Over his decades-long career, Struzan painted more than 150 movie posters, including unforgettable ones for E.T. the Extraterrestrial, The Goonies, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and Hellboy. His ability to adapt across genres, from sci-fi to fantasy to action, made him a favorite among filmmakers and fans alike. Yet despite his fame, Drew remained humble. He never saw himself as a celebrity. In fact, he often preferred the quiet life of painting in his studio, away from the Hollywood spotlight. When asked how he felt about his impact on pop culture, he once replied, "I just did my best to make something beautiful. If it made people happy, that's enough for me." In the 2000s, as digital art and computer-generated posters became the norm, Struzan slowly stepped back from Hollywood. But even in retirement, his influence never faded. Directors like Guillermo del Toro, J.J. Abrams, and the Duffer Brothers of Stranger Things fame have all cited him as an inspiration. His legacy can be seen in the resurgence of hand-painted poster art and in fan communities that continue to celebrate his work online. When news of his passing broke, tributes poured in from across the world. Filmmakers, actors, and fans shared stories and memories of how his art shaped their love for movies. George Lucas described him as the visual soul of Star Wars. Steven Spielberg called him a master who gave life to cinema before a single frame rolled. And countless fans expressed how Drew's posters were the reason they fell in love with storytelling in the first place. To many, Drew Struzan was the artist who made imagination visible. His art had a warmth that digital tools could never replicate. He painted moments that didn't exist in the films themselves, moments that felt like the movies, distilled into a single, perfect image. That's what made his work so extraordinary. Even today, decades after his most famous posters were painted, they remain instantly recognizable. They hang in theaters, bedrooms, and museums. They are printed on t-shirts, collectibles, and books. But more than that, they live in the hearts of movie lovers who grew up dreaming of galaxies far, far away, daring adventures in the jungle, and time-traveling DeLoreans. Drew Struzan's passing marks the end of an era, a time when movie posters were not just advertisements, but works of art. He leaves behind a legacy that can never truly be replaced. In an industry obsessed with technology and speed, his art reminds us of something deeper, the beauty of craft, patience, and passion. So the next time you see one of his posters, Luke Skywalker holding his lightsaber high, Indiana Jones cracking his whip, or Marty McFly racing through time, take a moment to look closer. Behind those colors and faces is a man who believed in the magic of movies and devoted his life to sharing that magic with the world. Drew Struzan may have left us, but his art ensures he'll never be forgotten. Through his paintings, he'll always be there, standing at the crossroads of imagination and reality, reminding us that before the movie begins, the story has already started on the wall.